Yeah, it's been fantastic. And I think those are the type of matches you want to see where one player just got it done. And Gauff did very little wrong. Paul, you talked about the serve. This was the one match where she wasn't able to get a lot of traction behind her second serve, Gauff. But Brady, the movement, she was so good covering the court on balance. These shots, she's being pushed outside of the doubles alley at times, and she still gets enough pace, enough power behind those shots to get the depth, to put herself in good position to go from defense to offense. She did it time and time again today.
Jen Brady, somebody who this year started as a qualifier in Brisbane, beat Maria Sharapova, beat world number one Ash Barty, said, hopefully one day I'll be a main draw queen. Well, now she can be the ultimate royalty in Lexington. Who will Jen Brady meet in the final? Well, Shelby Rogers was coming off of the win of her life against Serena Williams, taking on Jill Teichmann, somebody who has not dropped a set all tournament, Paul. And Shelby got the early break, then the troubles would begin.
Well, you said it early in the match. You just said what happens when someone beats a great player is that fear of a letdown there. And the way that Shelby started, winning that first game so comfortably, I thought she was fine. But right after the first game, the level dropped off. Shelby started making a bunch of unforced errors. But Teichmann did a really good job noticing that Shelby's rally tolerance was very low today. So she kept the ball going, kept on the baseline, and made sure that when she had the opportunity to make Shelby hit an extra ball, that's what she did. So I think a really smart match from Teichmann, and I think Shelby just had a little bit of a letdown after that big win from Serena. It's very tough to bounce back from that, but you have to give Teichmann credit. She played a terrific match.
Wins in straight sets. Let's hear from her.
Why are you playing so well?
First of all, thank you. I don't have an answer for that, why I don't lose any sets. I just feel very good. I'm playing very consistent. I feel great on court. So, yeah, that's, I guess, the main reason.
Playing consistent, Chanda. And these numbers we talked about during the match, she didn't get a lot of those first serves in, but she was still able to get 5 breaks on Shelby's serve.
Yeah, and on the other side for Shelby, first serve points won, 43%. That is a huge difference in the match today. That is too low for someone who gets a lot of free points, who can attack behind her first serve. But credit to Teichmann, who didn't allow the kick serve of Shelby Rogers to really affect her. It went into her forehand as a lefty, so a little bit of a matchup issue. But definitely for Teichmann, she moves well and was really, I think, really focused in those big moments. And she's been impressive in that department all week.
It was tough, Paul, emotionally coming off of that huge win against Serena. But still, for Shelby Rogers, back in the top 100 for the first time since that long layoff with the knee surgery.
Oh, yeah, she's got to take a lot of positives from this week. Look, she beat the most accomplished player in the game that's ever played the game. And she played great tennis this week. And she's been through so much with the knee, trying to get healthy and going through so many rehabilitations. And it's just been a long time for Shelby. To see her play this well throughout the week is great. Today's a little bit of a disappointment, but she's got to keep the macro in mind because she really did a good job.
I thought it was interesting for Jill Teichmann because she won the event that was going on last year in Prague. She also won Palermo. Decided not to play those because of the new ranking system. She could not gain more points. She was like, I want more points, so I'm coming to the U.S. playing Lexington. Now she's at a career high. So is Jen Brady. Neither one, Chanda, has lost a set in this tournament. How do they stack up against one another?
Yeah, this is going to be a fun match. We don't know as much about Teichmann. We hadn't seen her play as much before this week. We've seen Jen Brady a little bit more, but these are two dynamic players who use their serves beautifully, who are good movers. Teichmann, she really gets a lot of whip, a lot of action on her shots, and this will be, I think, a fun matchup, so don't sleep on this one.
You know what's interesting about this one for me, too, Chanda, is that Jen Brady plays a big power baseline game, right? And that's kind of what Shelby does as well. Shelby was forced into some errors today for overplaying because Teichmann does such a good job on defense. So I wonder if Jen Brady will make note of that and make sure that she's patiently aggressive tomorrow, not pulling the trigger too early, because that's going to be her challenge.
Teichmann's been in this position before. She's 2-0 in finals. First time for Jen Brady. And by the way, that's a big win against Coco Gauff. A lot of pressure coming into this All-American semifinal against the 16-year-old sensation. How does she keep her emotions intact tomorrow?
It's always tough in a final, particularly when it's your first. I mean, that is big to hold the title at the end of the week and to do it for the first time. So I think Jen Brady is definitely going to have to deal with that in a way that Teichmann won't. but it's still nerves on both sides. I mean, these are big matches. These are important matches as players try to work their way up the rankings. So I think it's going to come down to who gets the better start, who uses their serve better. Paul, you mentioned Jen Brady in that department. Can she get the same kind of traction, Brady, that she's gotten all week from her opponents? Teichmann moves well, but it was a good test for Brady against Coco Gauff today. She worked it out and didn't give up any openings, so I think that should help her in that final tomorrow.
Yeah, I wonder if Teichmann's going to be able to use that leftiness, to get Jen in some awkward positions off the court, spin her wide. But for Jen, it's going to be an interesting dilemma playing in the final, right? Because there's no crowd. So who is that going to favor? Is it going to relieve the pressure for both of them? Is one going to feel more because there's no crowd or less? It's going to be a lot of interesting dynamics tomorrow.
Jen's had ice in the veins all week long. I think that confidence for Brady is at a high right now. Looking forward to the final tomorrow.